yang. And actually they talk about that the best practitioners are really just working with yin and yang, bringing that balance and harmony back to this like very essential polarity of yin and yang. And so traditionally, I'm sure many of you have all probably seen the yin-yang symbol, which is, it's great. I mean, it's a great symbol. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a circle divided into two, and then we have one side that has the seed of darkness within the light, and the other side is the seed of light within the darkness. And they're totally interconnected, totally mutually enhancing. You can't separate them. One leads to the other. We can only understand one within the context of the other. So they're completely like this, right? So and this symbol is fabulous. I mean, it's great. But I learned a new way of thinking about yin and yang, and I found it really helpful, so I was going to share that with you all to start off today. So then the reason I like this is because it's a symbol that shows this dynamic movement, and it's a sine wave. So this is another, can you all see? I hope, anyway, I know it's probably you can't, but it's a sine wave. And so this is a way we can also depict yin and yang. And one way of understanding this is that, this part is yang of the sine wave. The rising is yang, and the descending is yin. So seeking the highest place, the more outer, immaterial, heavenly, cosmic, that's yang. Those are the yang nature is that. And the yin is the seeking the earthly, the lowest place, which is, they say, what the element water does, which water, if we map out the 5 elements on this chart, we would put water here. All water seeks the lowest place. And if you think about that, they say that the virtue of the water element is wisdom, and that wisdom seeks the lowest place, and that notion of wisdom is actually realizing your context within the greater, that, like, you know, the ego, it's in its right place. There's a place for the ego, healthy ego, of course. But most often we're like overemphasizing that with narrow vision, right? So wisdom allows for like this much bigger context of ourselves within this greater world that we're in. So the water element seeks the lowest place. So there it's ultimate yin. Water is the most yin. And then, so here, I'll just map out the 5 elements here. We have the wood element in Chinese medicine is here, right at that first impulse of yang to go outward. So we see that in the spring season as things are starting to grow, extend, the plants are all lifting up. It's that first assertion outwards. So that's the wood element. And it's associated with the liver and the gallbladder organs. And then the next element, anybody guess what the next one is? Yes, fire. Great. So fire is the next one. So fire is the acceleration. Fire is like things are really stirring. So of course, you know, so that's associated with summer. So that's the full bloom of yang really, is really kind of towards this peak is the fire element. It's associated with all things warmth, with metabolism, with the heart, with the spirit. And then within this movement, it's this acceleration. So this wood element is more like birth, you could say. And the fire element is more this acceleration. And then when we get to the top of the sine wave, what's there? No. Well, actually, in the system we have wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. There's different element systems in different, like in Ayurveda they have air, and in Tibetan medicine they have space. So there's different elements, and they do correlate somewhat. But in this system, it's wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So what's next, you think?
Metal.
Earth. I heard both earth and metal. Yeah, earth is at the top. This is like the most stable moment. For a moment, it's stable. So earth is definitely connected with stability, Seasonally, it's either, in Chinese medicine, it's both associated with late summer, this kind of like pause, right, of like that nice late summer where it's like time stood still for a little bit. So earth is associated with that time, but it's also associated with the transition between every season. So earth is right there in the middle, and it's connected. We'll talk about earth a little bit more, because that's sort of the emphasis today, but spleen and stomach, the digestive organs. Fire is heart. Fire actually has 4 organs associated with it. The heart is a big one, but definitely small intestine, the triple warmer, and the pericardium are all fire element organs. So then, what's next? We only have one left. Metal. Yeah, so metal is the deceleration of the wave, the deceleration of the movement, and the energy's moving inward in the autumn time. Everything's starting to kind of let go. That's kind of a nice keyword for that time of year, is letting go and starting to move inward. This is the lung, governs this time, large intestine. Letting go, right? Large intestine. Also lung, letting go is like grief, the ability to kind of move through grief. And when we aren't able to move through that fully, like it can reside in the lungs. That's a very common emotional picture that I see a lot. So letting go, metal, inward, beginning of the inward movement, and then we get to the water, which is the kidneys and the bladder, and the winter time, which is the deepest time. So that's the storage. So when we talk about yin and yang in this, we can talk about yin and yang in all kinds of ways, because we can use yin and yang to talk about all of reality. It's like everything that's in the manifest world we could talk about as, is that yin or yang? Well, it's yang in this way and it's yin in this way, because they're always present. Yin and yang are present in everything. But it's always about trying to bring balance. So is there, at any given moment, maybe it should, like in this time of year, the water time of year, it's the most yin time of year. It's healthy to have it be more yin. We want it to be quiet. We want it to be inward. We want it to be supported that way, warm and nurtured, like hibernation time. Like that's natural. There should be an emphasis on those types of activities. Similarly, in the springtime, and I feel this a lot with pulse diagnosis, which is a big part of Chinese medicine, which is another reason why I like this symbol of the wave, because it's like a pulse. We can feel in the pulse that the pulse is not rising when it should. Like there's a springtime pulse that you look for, and it should feel like it's like kind of coming out, especially in the liver and gallbladder position on the pulse. And if it's not, and especially then if I talk to a patient, as your energy's starting to pick up a little bit, are you starting to feel like ready to do things again? And they're kind of like, no. Then we know, okay, we need to do some things to help push the chi back out of storage. So we see all kinds of conditions actually on either end of this spectrum. Very big, important points where we want to either kind of help get the chi to go back into storage. Some people can't even get it back into storage, which is a lot of our society, and that's kind of the emphasis today is more on that. But sometimes it's the opposite. Some people have a hard time coming out of storage, coming out of the shell and into the world. So that's a little bit about a way to think about yin and yang is this storage and movement, active, reactive. It's this pulse, active, reactive. And yeah, I think I mentioned that. So honing in now a little bit more on the earth element. So this is a little bit like, the reason